it's time to show you a special technique that I call the Gypsy backbeat that I learned from a great gypsy guitarist called Smith. And this technique goes like this. Let's start with, you can use it while doing chords, while doing octaves. We can start with octaves. We can take like this, D, fifth position, a D, A string. On the A string you have a D, and on the G string you have a D, like this. And then you do down, up, down. Practice this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, down, up. Faster. Like that. Now I'm doing triplets. But you can also do it with 8 notes, and then you start on the offbeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you can also mute them. So you do, instead of doing that, you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I do, this hand stays the same, but I'm lifting up the fingers of my left hand, like that. So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. You can also do this with chords. For instance, if you have like a B minor 7, I use my thumb here on the B string, on the E string. Some gypsies do. I like that technique. Move chromatically down, B flat minor 7, A minor 7, and then a D7, a D9. So. Or. Like an intro for a song.
All right, so the first concept that we're going to work on, something that you need to just internalize concept by concept, and I'll give you some keys. The first key is to extend your arm out and just let your hand drop. Now, that is a 45-degree angle with the wrist. We want to keep that principle in mind. Bring the hand in, natural playing position, and keep the 45-degree angle. If you've ever shaken out a thermometer or a match, that's the movement. The hand has a natural weight, and you want to just let it drop. You don't need to use any strength at all with the technique. The only power or energy that you're going to need is to raise your hand up and raise it up a little bit higher than it might want to go naturally, and then let it drop. I call this the range of motion of the swinging hand. The hand has its own range of motion, and you have to just let the hand swing all the way down. But when you bring it up a little higher than it wants to, and then drop it down. That's everything you need to know right there. I've got a few more things to show you, but that's the main thing. The hand has to be relaxed. Tension and fatigue are going to set in if you try to force the hand to do something it doesn't want to do. All you need to do is let it drop. So before you even play the guitar, let's just do this. Get the hand nice and loose. Does it look like I'm playing the guitar? So this is the range of motion from here all the way up here. Now, if you've ever tried to flick a towel at somebody in the locker room or shake a thermometer down, you know that you've got to put a certain snap to it, and that takes a certain amount of energy. But it's an energy that you put into the hand and then let the energy move the hand. And you let the hand swing all the way freely through the motion. You don't need to stop it. When you stop it, you're going to create tension and fatigue. So, let's grab a C9 chord for no good reason, just because it's a nice sounding chord. And we're going to go down. And you don't have to let the chord ring. You can just sort of chop it. Choke it. Down and up. Notice where my hand is. Notice how high it is. This is key. You're always going to want to let the hand sort of twist. This is another key. 45-degree angle is the first key. The second key is to let the hand twist on the upstroke. And comes down. See how far down my hand is there? And then up, down, okay, so far so good? I'm liking it. The weight of the hand does all the work. And the range of motion is from here all the way up here. And you don't constrict the range of motion. As much as possible, let the hand swing completely through the range of motion. All right, next exercise. Same thing, but we're going to add what I call a speed blast. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do it again with a speed blast on the last 4, where we'll double it up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's do it again. And that last little bit is up, down, down.
Première partie, c'est ça? La première. C'est pas. On voit sa deuxième parce que la première tu l'as captée, je pense.
Ouais.
C'est bon, donc la deuxième. Si tu l'as pas captée, tu me le dis, hein, on la revoit et tout à l'heure tu l'avais bien captée donc.
Ouais. Je dois juste. Tu peux faire la bossa nova?
Ah, vas-y.
Je peux lui montrer, je vais plus.
Alors ici une petite vidéo pour vous montrer les subtilités de la pompe. Donc d'abord, je vais prendre la grille de minor swing, la mineur, mi 7, fa 7, mi 7. Voilà les accords. Donc surtout la main gauche. La main gauche, qui nous allons le voir, va pomper de cette manière sur les temps 2 et 4 qui relâchent. Donc 1, 3, 1, 3. Donc les temps 2 et 4 sont quasiment mutés. Au niveau de la main droite. Au niveau de la main droite, je vais prendre toutes les cordes. Moi je joue en coup droit, donc il n'y a pas de retour. Donc ce qui donne donc il n'y a que sur les temps, les tempos lents où je vais mettre un. Vous voyez? Voilà, bon amusement.
So I want to start with the first basic rhythm. Now, most people are going to know this, but there's all kinds of variations in this. And sometimes it's called the boom chunk. It's played 4 beats straight down, and the second and fourth beat are dampened, which from here on in I'll call the damp. So you go 1 damp, 2, 1 damp, 3 damp. And that sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's the basic rhythm under which all this will happen. This first variation on that, or the second variation on that, is to play the 1 and the 3 on the bass area of your strings, string number 6, 5, 4, and maybe 3, and then the second one on all strings. And you vamp on all 4 beats, or you damp on all 4 beats. And that would sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. can see the deliberation with which that sound comes out. There's a chung, kunk, 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 kunk. When you're more than one rhythm guitar player, it would probably be a good idea to work with your rhythm partner and work out what you want to play together. And maybe one person can play the first rhythm, one person can play that second rhythm, and you'd have a nice balance. There's a third variation on this, which is probably used a little bit less, but it gives a very good staccato sound. It's hitting all strings on all 4 beats and damp all 4 of them. Now we're going to play this chorus through 3 times, and I will play the first variation, second variation, and a third variation. You'll hear the difference in the sound. It's very subtle, but it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's all 3 variations of that rhythm. Can be played in conjunction with each other, or any 2 of those can be, mix and match them any way you see fit. Now the 4th variation is where it starts to add kind of the swinging component to it, in which there is a sharp upstroke played between the 2 and the 3 beat, and that would imply something like da 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 da. The little upstroke beat between the 2 and the 3, if you divide the time, say, between beat number 2 and beat number 3 as, say, a foot, about 70% of the distance between the 2 going toward the 3 is when that beat would fall. And if you're closer than that to the center, it's going to sound a little plodding. And the closer you can get it to the 3, and the lighter you can get it, the lighter the rhythm is going to feel. And there'll be no drop in energy, but the rhythm will feel very light. And you can do this on a fast piece or a slow piece. I'll talk about the slow piece in a second. I'll just give you an idea of the fast piece. And I'm going to play the first variation and then this on the first 8 bars, and then I'll play the second on the, I'll play this 4th variation on the second 8 bars. I'm going to start with the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play this style of rhythm, the pick gets dragged upward on the first 3, maybe 4 strings, and then you have your downstroke. So it's your upstroke that is the really important part of this, because that's going to determine whether the whole feel of the rhythm is really light or a little plodding. You've got to really watch that, as I said. And that's,
Just let it rip.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so, again, breaking up the Pompe rhythm, you're doing a song, and maybe it's, instead of having the straight rhythm the whole time, that's fine. And if you want to break up the rhythm, you can do like those speed blasts, and you can keep it going. So an example might be on like the tune Hungary. percussive, kind of breaks the rhythm up a little. You want to be careful not to do it too much because you want to keep that pulse and that driving rhythm going. I think it's good in the rhythm guitarist's role. It's good to use it as an effect without overdoing it a little bit. But as a solo guitarist, in your solo, I mean, you can do stuff like that too. You don't always have to solo with single notes. So you can do octaves or chords. For example, if I were, playing over a G chord.
Thanks.
Something like that.
That's great.
Today I'd like to talk a bit about gypsy jazz rhythm guitar playing, also known as la pompe. Now it's a subject that's much discussed and argued about among players, and so at this point I'd just like to make a disclaimer and say that I don't consider myself any amazing rhythm guitar player. Really I just want to help people who are maybe coming to the genre for the first time try and get a handle on what it's about. So if you listen to YouTube, there's quite a few examples of bad rhythm playing. So you may hear something a bit like this. So as I hope you could hear, there was rhythmically that was really weird. There was all these sort of upstrokes going on, and it just didn't sound very nice. So what a lead guitar player will be looking for in a rhythm player is to keep the chords fairly simple and also to chop out the rhythm really nice and tidily. So that's what we'll be looking at. Now it's a common misconception among people that the rhythm goes like this. So in other words, a bass note on the 1 and 3 and the main bulk of the chord on the 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in actual fact the reverse is true, and so the main bulk of the chord comes on the 1 and 3 and the 2 and 4 is just a rhythmic stab. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for playing the 1 and the 3, what I'm doing is just as I'm striking the strings, just pressing the strings down with my left hand, and then after the stroke immediately releasing it again. So you're only really pressing down for the time that the plectrum takes to go through all the strings. So that's the 1 and the 3. And on the 2 and the 4, it's even less of that. So I mean, you hardly press the strings down at all. It's mainly just a rhythmic stab. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a good way to start getting this into your playing is to get a metronome and set it on something like, I've got it on 100 here, and start off by just playing the 1 and 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So concentrate on getting a nice crisp chord. when you're ready to carry on, you can put in the 2 and 4. But I'd only start by doing a 2 first and just leaving the 4 blank. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when you're ready, you can add in the 4 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So do that for increasingly faster tempos. So for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're ready, add in the 4 as well. And make it faster as well. Okay, and that's it really. So what I suggest you do is when you've got that down, then go and listen to other players as well, and because there's lots more to it. I mean, that's just a tiny percentage of what's going on. So so yeah, go and listen to other players and get some more ideas, and hopefully you'll develop your own way of playing rhythm. Okay, thanks.
If you want to get into gypsy jazz a little bit, there's a couple of chord voicings that are not difficult at all, and they just use 3 notes. Now this one is A minor 6, which A is the root, C is the 3rd, and F sharp is the 6th. And that gives nice sound for rhythm on gypsy jazz. And you just play every chord really short, and downbeats with all downstrokes with the right hand in between the sound hole and the bridge. You don't want to get too close up here to the neck because it gets sloppy sounding. So back by the bridge and you get this kind of sound. And the nice thing about this shape is you can move it around. One of the key components of the sound of this music is a very heavy pick. This one is about 5 millimeters thick, and it's a material very similar to tortoiseshell, so you can play fast and hard without the pick actually starting to come apart or get burrs on it. Of course, this type of guitar is specifically made for playing gypsy jazz, and there's companies that make them pretty affordable ones. Gitan has another line called Cigano. Aria also has some pretty affordable ones if you want to just try it and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. Or you can also play this style on an archtop guitar or a regular flat top or even a classical. The trick is just to get a fairly thick pick and play back by the bridge and put some meat into the attack, and you'll start to be getting a gypsy attitude. Gypsy jazz is a fairly flowery style. There's a lot of flourishes and a lot of kind of virtuosic technical licks, and some that sound more difficult than they are. Here's here's a little run that incorporates hammer-ons and pull-offs, and it's basically an A minor scale starting on your high E string. I'll play that again for you. So you can hear the hammer-ons and pull-offs. Another thing you can do is kind of rapid picking with the right hand on a chromatic. So you're just going right down chromatic, and then from there down diminished. And diminished is just minor thirds, one after another, which are notes that are 3 frets apart. And then another thing you can do is kind of a nice sweeping lick, and you can do this with just 2 fingers. This is a D minor. So it's down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. And you can play that pretty fast. And those kind of licks are fun to play because they're not too hard, but you travel across the guitar and they have kind of a nice sound as well. So that's a kind of a diminished run, but it ends up, you end up getting a tonality of a D7 flat 9. We're starting on the 3rd there. And climbing up in minor thirds again with this pattern. Then ending on a G6-9 up on the top. That chord, it's like an A13, but with a flat 9 in the bass, right? And Django used it for. Well, that chord, George Harrison used it at the end of his solo in "Till There Was You," and I think he used it here. And the Beatles didn't know what to call that chord, but there was a guy named Gretti who taught at the music shop in Liverpool, and he showed them that chord. So they called it the Gretti chord. You know, oh George, you've ended it with a Gretti chord. So, that's that. This is a signature model, Gitan, and it's patterned after the French guitars made by Selmer back in the 1930s that Django Reinhardt played. The body size is about like a dreadnought, but they were the first guitars back in the early 30s to be manufactured with a cutaway. So it's got a cutaway for access to the high frets. They were traditionally made laminated. The back and sides are laminated. The inside is mahogany. The middle is birch, and the outside of this one is Brazilian rosewood. And it's actually quite figured. And this company, Saga, found some people that will dig up the stumps of Brazilian rosewood that has been cut down. So it's environmentally friendly and also beautiful. The stump wood is usually more figured, so it has a fairly hefty neck, as the originals did. Ladder bracing like a classical guitar. The top is just slightly arched, and it's a pressed arch to the braces. So you get a little bit of a trampoline effect in the body, the face right here. Tailpiece and a floating bridge, and slotted headstock like a classical. So this guitar has elements of a lot of different acoustic guitars. A little bit arch top, a little bit classical, a little bit flat top. But it's its own beast, best for playing Django-style music in gypsy jazz.
All right, welcome. We are going to play Dark Eyes. This is the beginning rhythm guitar part for this. This is the simplest way of playing this song, and you should have no problems with it. Refer to any of the charts, refer to the diagrams, check it out. I'll go up close. So we're going to have one chord shape that's going to take care of all the chords. By the way, the chords are D minor 6, the chords are G minor 6, the chords are A7, and the chords are B flat 7. Okay? But in the order that they occur, it starts on the A7. So instead of playing these bar chords, we're going to play one chord shape for you, make it simple for you. So you can't say, I don't know how to play this. This is very simple. Just put your fingers in the following shape. On the A7, for the A7 chord, I should say, we're going to have our first finger is going to be on the 4th fret. Now we keep track of the chord and where we are by our first finger. So if I say first finger goes on whatever fret, that means all the other fingers will have to align themselves. So first finger is on the 4th fret of the 5th string. The 3rd finger is on the 4th string at the 5th fret. The 2nd finger is on the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and the pinky is on the 2nd string at the 5th fret. Okay, so we're not going to play these two strings. No 6th string, no 1st string. So we want to keep those out of the mix. Okay? So as we are playing this chord shape, let me move up closer so you can see the chord. Okay, this right here is the chord shape, what it looks like on the guitar. Alright, so now as I play this, you'll notice that I press down when I play it, and I release the tension. See if you can see that in my hand. I release the tension when I'm done playing it. I do not take my fingers off. See that? Okay? Now, that's the A7. Now to make the D minor 6, we move that shape all just down to the 2nd fret. And now we have that. Okay? We go back up to the 4th fret for the A7 again. Okay, got that so far? 4th fret, 2nd fret, same shape. Then we go to the 5th fret, and that's going to substitute for our B flat 6, or B flat 7 really. Okay. Now, for the G minor 6 substitute, we go up to the 7th fret. Move that up to the 7th fret. Remember, your first finger is guiding you on what fret you're at. Okay, now it's the 7th fret. We play that. Okay, now we're back down to the 2nd fret. Let me move back out so you can see this a little bit better. 2nd fret. Okay, do that again. Okay, 4th fret. Finally back down the 2nd fret. Now I recommend, now notice we have 4 beats for each chord. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still 4, but if you're actually playing the rhythm, it's good to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and not play the 4th one. It gives you a little idea in your mind that that's the end of the progression or the form, and it's going to start over. Now let me point out something about the right hand. On the picking hand here, let me see if I can get this up here so you can see it. Okay, back off a little bit. The strumming on this is simply a rest stroke. You're strumming downward. You're letting this pick fall to the next string. Now Now that's individually, see? But we want a chord stroke. We want to hear it all at once. So we're going to, when we play quickly, it's kind of like a raking sound. Okay? If you haven't practiced your picking, you might think this is tough, but it shouldn't be. Remember, with your left hand, we are not playing the sixth or the first string. You're allowing your fingers to purposely mute those if you can. If you have a problem, you're going to take the palm of your hand and you're going to actually come into the strings and lay your palm on the string as soon as you've done picking. So you're going to go like this. See how I'm doing this? Let me put it up here. Now I wouldn't normally play at this angle, but this is the best way I can show you the palm. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay? Alright, again, not these two strings. Stop them. So actually I'm using the palm and using this at the same time to play the chord progression to stop the sounds from ringing out when I don't want them. So let's back up here. Let's play this chord progression all the way through. I'll play this maybe 4 times in a row for you and stop. And you can use this part of the video to practice the chord progression with me. I'm not going to go too fast. I'm going to play it sort of a moderate speed, okay? And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll begin. Okay, here we go. Remember, just for refreshing, 4th fret and 2nd fret. This is where the chords are. 4th fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Just look at the chart for what order they're in. And you should commit them to memory. Okay, here's the chord progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is the chord progression. Work on that, get that down, refer to the chart if you need help, and you can play along with this and we can put the melody to this. Alright? Alright.
Hey, how you doing? It's Robin Nolan here. I'm going to talk a little bit about and show you a few little ideas, extra ideas apart from just playing the regular rhythm chords to the tune J'attendrai, which Django played, and it's actually the film of Django. The only film with in sync music and fingers is the recording of him with Stefan and the quintet doing J'attendrai. So it's in the repertoire, it's a good one to learn, and I'm just going to show you some kind of chord ideas which you might use as being a lead player, but anyway, it's good to know some extra chords. And I'm basically going to base them around the bottom of the neck here, so near to the headstock. Maybe use some open notes and just some different ideas. So it's in C, so C chord, for example. Yeah, so instead of barring that one, with the A, we leave the G open because you're down there and G fits into the C chord. So B7 there. And why not use the good old blues? The good old B7, which we all learned when we first started playing guitar, B7. So far we've got down to B7. Then we got a diminished chord there, which will lead us nicely to the D minor. We can use it right there. Right on the 2nd fret, diminished. So far we've got, let's do it in time, so it's kind of going like. D minor, nice one here. Can you see that? So I'm barring on the 3rd fret, and then with the 3rd and 4th finger playing those 2 notes. Yeah. And that's a nice kind of idea because you can surround it with the, which actually fits the song as well. And we'll go and it's the D minor kind of chord, well it's D minor chord. And then surrounding by the diminished one we just played before it, and then up 3 frets, as you know, up 3 frets, then back to the D minor. So you can surround that D minor chord with a couple of crispy diminished chords around it. So in context of the tune again, so. And you're back to D minor where it's going to descend. And a nice one here is the D minor 6 there, on the 2nd fret. Can you see that one? And we just, this sound. Yeah, so it's pinky on the root, D at the top. Going down with fret. Playing the A in the bass there. No problem with that. So it's. Just that movement. Okay, so far we've got diminished, D minor. Quite often this kind of music, if you got a 2-5-1, D minor 7, going to C, instead of going, you just drop those 3 fingers, so yeah, that acts as your G7 type chord, then back home, yeah. So far we've got dum bum B7 da da C, diminished. Descending there, D minor 7, then, yeah, so there's a few little tasters of what you can do with j'attendrai. So if I was doing it kind of, if the rhythm section was playing, you might kind of go in. So yeah, get those under your fingers and you can have fun with those, and there's lots more to come. See you later.
Okay, here is minor swing. Minor swing has 3 chords, and we could add more chords to it, but we are only going to do a simple version of it. And again, as always, we're going to use our simple chord shape. Here is the A minor 6 chord. Now, here's what I'm doing. I have my middle finger on the 6th string at the 5th fret. I skip the 5th string. I even allow my finger to actually touch it so it will mute out. Then I go to the 4th string at the 4th fret, and I have my first finger here. Okay? Then my 3rd finger, right here, goes to the 3rd string on the 5th fret. My pinky can, but it doesn't have to, go to the 5th fret on the 2nd string. So I'm skipping string number 5, and I'm not playing string number 1. Okay, I'm allowing this finger to mute the 1st string. I'm allowing this finger right here to mute the 5th string. So we have this. Now again, I'm picking wise, I'm letting this rest stroke, I'm going. Now if this string is being muted right here, the 5th string, you won't hear it. It'll go right by it. You won't hear it. And this one won't be heard either. Okay, so if you're nice about your picking and consistent, you won't hear that. However, I would point out to you do not even have to use your pinky. If you stop picking on the 3rd string, so if you went like this, you could actually use your 1st finger as a mute of these strings, two strings here that you would, because your 1st finger is already over here. And you wouldn't need to have your pinky on here. You could stop and strum only to the 3rd string. Now, a lot of players do that, and you can get used to that. That makes it only a 3-note chord, very, very, very simple. The reason I suggest that is because we're going to use this. We want to try to use the same exact shape for everything. Because remember, this is a beginning way of playing the song, an absolute beginner idea. So we're going to have this, and that's at the 5th fret. Okay, remember, if you know your notes on your guitar, which you should, at least on the 6th string, come on, and the 5th string, then this is an A, and that's an A minor 6 chord, 5th fret. Now, if I tell you to play a D minor 6, you go up to the 10th fret, okay, 10th fret. Same shape, don't take your hands off, just move it up. And now you have a D minor 6. Now, here's a chord substitution. The other chord is an E7. Normally we would have this kind of a chord. And of course you can play that if you know more and you're not just a beginner. But if you're just a beginner, the best thing to do is to take that chord shape that you had at the 10th fret and the 5th fret and slide it to the 7th fret. Okay? And play that one. Now notice that's the same chord shape. 5th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret. That's all you need. Remember that. 5 and 10 and 7. Now, what order are we going to play these in? Look at your chord chart. A minor 6 is first. Okay. D minor 6 is second. That's the 10th fret. Then you go to the 7th fret, and that'll be your E7 chord substitution. Then you're going to go back to the 5th fret. And then we go back to the 10th fret. Back to the 5th fret. And then to the 7th fret. Finally to the 5th fret. And then back to the 7. Now, one thing I did here, if you notice how many times I strummed each chord until I got to the end of it, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you just count in straight numbers, you would say 8. But it's good for you to count in sets of 4s because the song is in 4/4 time. That means you should count 4 beats and then start over. So we have 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go to the E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the only other part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So see, Only at the very end you only have 4 beats and 4 beats. All the other ones you get 4/4, which for you think an 8, I guess. But divide it up. So this is something you have to commit to memory. Look at the chord chart and play along. Okay, here we go. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you'll notice, if you are smart there, you'll notice that, hey, wait a minute, he was just strumming 4 times. That's what you thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, that's because I wasn't counting as I was strumming. I was just strumming 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I wasn't strumming on every single beat. You heard this. 1. And that over here on the right hand is that's a mute. Okay. I did that because I wanted to strum on the 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's how we're really going to play it. When you count, you have to keep track of what you're doing there. If you're not going to count it in your head, you're going to get lost on this, okay? So you're going to think, oh, he's playing it too fast or playing it too slow. All right, so I'm going to play this chord progression again for you, like maybe 4 times. So you have something to play along with, okay? Here we go. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Stopped on the E. Now, if you look at your chord chart and you play along with that, that's your basic rhythm chords for the middle of the song, for the entire middle section of the song and the soloing, okay?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bon, je vais vous expliquer aussi dans la musique manouche, il y a pas qu'un rythme pompe, il y a plusieurs rythmiques, c'est-à-dire, il n'y en a pas qu'une, il y en a plusieurs. Ça dépend avec qui on joue aussi, ça dépend du soliste, et il y a des façons aussi, la main droite qui est très importante, de nouveau, je répète, dans la musique manouche. Et je vais vous montrer un petit exemple, on va prendre un standard comme I Can Give You Anything But Love, Django a joué à l'ancienne. Maintenant, je vais vous montrer vraiment comment d'habitude, à la pompe, manouche, on la joue. Voilà, ça c'est traditionnel, disons voir. La pompe manouche. Maintenant, il y a une autre différence aussi, on peut la jouer un peu plus, on peut la jouer aussi manouche, mais ça dépend du guitariste des fois, hein. Alors des fois, on la joue un peu plus moderne si on veut, mais ça joue beaucoup au poignet aussi, hein. Poignet et blocage. Je vais vous expliquer, regardez. Ça, c'est une deuxième rythmique, un peu plus moderne. Et je vais vous expliquer aussi dans cette façon d'accompagner un peu plus moderne, c'est-à-dire cette main droite est très importante. Parce que il y a des... Regardez, je bloque un peu avec le poignet, le bas de la main, ouais, je bloque un peu, et puis je joue, il y a des tensions qui se mettent et pas. Voilà. Et bien sûr, pour ce style-là, il faut jouer avec des accords un peu plus modernes, avec la main gauche. Voilà, ça fait à peu près ça. Voilà, tout dépend du style de musique qu'on fait. Bon, même si c'est dans le jazz manouche, hein, on peut jouer comme ça, plus moderne. Voilà. Ça dépend des musiciens, hein. Bon, bon, comme j'ai joué beaucoup avec Biréli Lagrène fait un peu de tout. Vous voyez ce que je veux dire? Alors, il faut s'adapter au soliste de ce qu'il veut. Parce qu'il y a d'autres solistes qui ne veulent pas ça, ils veulent jouer plus traditionnel. Alors, la main gauche, changement d'accord avec le poignet, blocage, c'est-à-dire c'est un peu plus moderne, hein, ça fait ça. Voilà, c'est des accords plus modernes pour ce style. Bon, maintenant on va essayer de faire des ballades, c'est-à-dire la pompe pour les ballades. La simple, genre nuage. Voilà, je vais déjà vous faire une petite démonstration. Voilà, c'est-à-dire maintenant, je vais vous montrer pour la main droite. Dans les ballades, c'est vraiment plus doux, il n'y a rien à voir avec la pompe swing, hein, c'est-à-dire on appuie moins fort. Et la main gauche, on reste plus appuyé sur les accords. Comment jouer avec la main droite aussi? Alors, c'est plus lent, c'est rien à voir, hein, avec le swing. Maintenant, ça dépend. Maintenant, si on commence le thème de la chanson, on la joue comme ça. Nuage, hein. Voilà, ça, c'est le thème. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup dans le thème, il faut garder la pression. La main gauche sur les accords. Et dès que le thème est terminé, dès que le soliste commence à faire son improvisation, là, il faut la jouer un peu différemment, c'est-à-dire un peu plus sec. Et bien sûr, dans ce morceau-là, comme nuage, la main droite doit être très souple, hein. Ne pas être agressif. Oui, comme dans les ballades, j'utilise ma main droite avec tout mon poids, mais attention, souple, mais plus large, des mouvements plus larges. Hein. Regardez, ça fait ça. Bon, nous allons faire maintenant un morceau plus rapide qui va jouer beaucoup avec la main droite. Là, le mouvement va être plus régulier et puis vous verrez. Regardez, je vais vous montrer déjà un morceau comme hongarien à peu près. Hein. Oui, bien sûr, la main droite est beaucoup plus le poignet, le mouvement du poignet. Très important pour la pompe, swing, manouche. Bon, je vais vous faire une démonstration d'une balade, nuage. Hein. Déjà, première démonstration, regardez la main droite. Puis, je vais vous montrer maintenant la pompe swing. La main droite change un peu, c'est-à-dire que ça sera plus sec. Ma main droite, des allers-retours plus secs et le poignet joue beaucoup, hein, c'est-à-dire des allers-retours. Par exemple sur Hungaria. Bon courage, on va prendre une pause et on va manger du poulet avec Denis.
Un, deux, 3, 4.
1, 2, 1.
Bonjour à tous, mon nom est Sami Dossa et j'ai conçu avec Denis Roux une méthode qui s'adresse à tous ceux qui veulent découvrir la guitare manouche. Avec cette méthode, vous apprendrez les bases essentielles pour bien démarrer dans le style de Django Reinhardt.
La pompe, c'est l'accompagnement standard à 4 temps réguliers, utilisé pour la plupart des morceaux. C'est l'un des éléments essentiels du swing manouche.
Je vous propose de plaquer l'accord de sol mineur 6. En fait, pour moi, c'est la main gauche qui va me donner le rythme. Je vais serrer comme ça les 4 temps de la mesure. En fait, vous voyez bien, j'appuie tous les temps et il ne me reste plus qu'à gratter avec la main droite. On peut aussi faire la pompe en détachant la basse du reste de l'accord. Pour que cela sonne, il faut obligatoirement buter cette basse.
j'attendrai toujours ton retour. Ménilmontant, mais oui madame, c'est là que j'ai laissé mon cœur, c'est là que je viens retrouver mon âme, toute ma flamme, tout mon bonheur, quand je revois ma petite église.
Well, we've been talking at some length about terminology that you will encounter, things like extensions, alterations, and substitutions. But at this point, I should also point out that in jazz, we now use extensively a Roman numeral system. So the first degree of the scale is number 1, the second degree number 2, the third degree number 3, and so on, through to the 8th degrees. Now, we refer to a chord within that scale as a 1 chord, a 4 chord, a 3 chord, a 2 chord, simply because it gives us the sound. A 1 chord is a major chord, a 2 chord is a minor chord. We achieve this by just stacking the notes above the bottom note of the scale each time, stacking up the 3 notes to form the chord. And each time we do that, the chord has a slightly different character. Number 1 chord is major, number 2 chord is minor, number 3 chord is minor, number 4 chord is major, number 5 chord is dominant 7, number 6 chord is minor, number 7th chord is half diminished, that's a minor 7 chord with a flat 5, and then number 8 is the same as number 1, an octave above. So it's apparent then that a 1 chord in one key will have the same function, the same type of sound as a 1 chord in another key. Same with the 2 chord, 3 chord, etc. So because of that, it makes it easier for us to use the chord system, chord symbol system, by reducing it to Roman numerals. So if we say a 2-5-1, now that's a very popular chord sequence in jazz. In fact, really, most of jazz music is built on tunes which contain 2-5-1s in some place. Sometimes the entire tune is made out of 2-5-1s. A 2-5-1 in one key, 2-5-1 in another key, has very much the same sort of sound. It speeds up the process. For one musician to say to another one, it's a 2-5-1 in A, followed by a 2-5-1 in G. Now what do we mean by that? 2-5-1 in A, so we look at the A scale, 1, 2, the second chord, which is a minor, B minor, then a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 chord is an E7. And then of course the 1 chord is A. So a 2-5-1 in A, B minor, E7, A major. 2-5-1 in G is the same thing, a tone down. The second degree of the scale of G, A minor. The 5th degree, D7, and then 1. Now it's obviously far easier for one jazz musician to say to another, it's 2-5-1 in A, followed by 2-5-1 in G, rather than to say B minor, E7, A major, A minor, D7, G major. It speeds up the process, particularly when there are a lot of chords involved. There are some tunes, there's one tune in particular called Cherokee, which has a whole series of 2-5-1s. It has a 2-5-1 in B, followed by a 2-5-1 in A, followed by a 2-5-1 in G, followed by a 2-5-1 in F. We'll just hear the tune to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for me to tell somebody what the chords were would be far easier to say 2-5-1 in B, 2-5-1 in A. Even then it's quite a lengthy bit of information. So a 2-5-1. Now the minor, of course, could be subject to all sorts of treatments. So we might have a minor 9, then the 5, of course, needn't just be in this case an E7. It might be an E7 with a sharp 9 or a flat 9, which we learnt earlier was an alteration. So B minor 9, E7 sharp 9, and maybe a major 6. A or whatever. There's lots of different treatments of colouring those chords, of giving them more interest. Now there is one difference, significant difference in a minor key. The 2 will contain a flat 5. It's a minor 7 flat 5 chord. That note in B minor, the 5th degree of the chord. So if we have a B minor, we've got the root, minor 3rd as we know, and the 5th. Going right back to our chord construction, the 5th is lowered by a half step. That's a minor key. Very significant sound. You can hear the difference. That's preparing us for the minor. And a very common 5 chord to use in a 2-5-1, a minor 2-5-1, is indeed a sharp 9 or a flat 9. So if we listen to the sound, B minor 7 flat 5, E7 sharp 9, and then down to the A minor, which is of course our 1 chord. This time with a flat 9. So B minor, 7 flat 5, flat 9, which is the same note, and resolving a half step. Some people actually use both. I think that's rather a nice sound for the guitar, using a sharp 9 and a flat 9. Creates movement. And listen to the difference between minor and major 2-5-1s. I play the same, a 2-5-1 in A, 2-5-1 in G, and then a 2-5-1 in A minor, and a 2-5-1 in G minor. So here's the one in A. G. Now in the minor key, 2-5-1 in A minor, 2-5-1 in G minor. Now generally when we see the half diminished chord, a minor 7 flat and 5 chord, we can predict that it's going to resolve onto a 2-5-1 in the minor key. Sometimes it doesn't. There are the odd tunes. What's New is a very famous ballad that does that, where the chord, it is a minor 7 flat 5, but it goes to a major chord ultimately. But generally when you see that minor 7 flat 5, it's preparing us for a 2-5-1 in the minor key.